Mr. Businessman, I have a pitch I want to share.
What is it, Sab?
So it's not entirely a SpongeBob video.
Rejected.
Hold on. It talks about Nicktoons as a whole.
Intrigued.
And it talks about the games made by Altron.
Rejected. Why do you keep talking about Altron? They're just some nobody studio.
Because I liked the SpongeBob games and wanted to see how they handled other Nick shows.
Fine, I'll give you a chance. But if it bombs, then that's 100% on you.
I'm willing to take that risk. We're not monetized right now anyway.
We're not what?
Hello, random person. Korean sex?
Do we even?
Final answer. Hello random person, Sam Nino here. Remember that video where I talk about the SpongeBob Altron DS trilogy? Well, after I made that video, I was curious about how they handled other Nickelodeon characters. Since they made SpongeBob work as well as they did, then maybe the same thing applies to the other Nicktoons. The reason why I'm limiting it at Nick is because, let's be honest, would you really watch a video where I review Hockey and Rocky with Becky? Before the video starts, I want to let you know that I won't be talking about every game. Plus, the ones I play will only be a couple of levels, so you might not get the most in-depth review as I did with the SpongeBob games. Since with the Spongy games, there were only 3 of them, excluding the GBA port. While with Nicktoons, I found 7 playable emulations of each game, so let's get started. The first game Altron made for Nick is a show I have never seen. I've watched the Jungle movie, but clearly this is a different film. From my understanding, Arnold's neighborhood is in threat of being torn down by a greedy developer. I actually had to look up the synopsis for this movie. The game seems to be Arnold and friends trying to stop him. I've only played the first stage, but I honestly enjoyed what I played, despite it being super challenging. Level 1, you have to find Arnold's friend. Level 2, Gerald has to put flyers into people's mailboxes. Level 3, Gerald has to rush to a party. And level 4, Arnold needs to fight a creep who kidnapped his grandma? That's what I got from it. I could be wrong on this. The first stage was super challenging due to all the platforming and enemies, especially the bats that have intense knockback. The middle stages weren't as difficult, but still challenging in their own way. And the boss was fun too. Just keep this guy as far away from children as possible. The thing that impressed me the most is that even early on, Altron's flair was present. The sound direction and visuals reminded me a lot of the SpongeBob games, which is wonderful. I like how you can tell they made it, but it doesn't seem to ruin the vibe of the show. I wouldn't know, but it feels pretty fitting. If you like Hey Arnold, you might like this game, but if you're a casual gamer, this could still be fun. This game is just Hey Arnold the movie. Same playing style, similar combat, similar platforming, even down to having power-ups. Even the health bars and fonts are reused. Unfortunately, I didn't have as much fun with this one as I did with Hey Arnold. Which sucks, because I'm actually a big fan of early Fairly OddParents. But there isn't a lot of charming additions to this game. The sprite work and music is meh, the cutscene dialogue is janky, and I don't think they understood the source material well. It's meant to take place in a Crimson Chin comic, but for some reason, the first stage are extras from the comic convention. Plus, why is Timmy so sad here? He wished for this. Overall, I just don't think this is a good game. It's just a bland reskin of a better game, just made worse. For once, being a shit gamer actually prevented me from playing a game. I played the tutorial and I legit couldn't figure out the controls. I'll be honest, I don't play sports games, so that might be why. It kinda sucks too, cause the menu honestly got me pumped up for some radical gameplay. But alas, I can't. Because I couldn't pass literally the easiest section of the game. It looks more charming than Enter the Cleft though, so I'll give it that. This game is actually the only one I grew up with in this entire list, and probably one of the only games people actually talk about. A bunch of Nicktoons are scattered across the world, and you need to help Jimmy Neutron gather evidence of this. Fun fact, this is the first time SpongeBob was put in the hands of Altron, along with a lot of other characters like Jimmy, All Grown Up, Invader Zim, Teenage Robot, etc. The first stage is Dimsdale, and already there's much more charm in those 3 levels than the standalone Fairly Odd Parents game. The gameplay is a lot of fun too. If you like Pokemon Snap, you might like this. Not that I know, I've never played. There's a lot of personality and Easter eggs in this game, and if you're a geek about this sort of thing like I am, then you'd love this. Out of this whole list, I think this is the game I'd personally recommend the most. Just to get it out of the way, I love the visuals of this game, especially the menus. The customability, the colors, it's all 2000s core in the best possible way. The sprite work is alright too. It's super cute and reminiscent of the show, out of what I remember. I haven't seen much of All Grown Up, but Notorious JKB has been trying to get me into it. Someday, but not today. The gameplay is basically an RPG with platforming elements, which I must say is a pretty fitting genre for All Grown Up, since it was a slice of life show the last time I checked. It also has mini games during certain sections, which so far are a fun addition. I just wish the explanations weren't a wall of text. I don't have the attention span for that. You know what this game reminds me of? SpongeBob's Truth or Square for the DS. It's not the same genre, but a lot of elements from this game eventually made its way to that one. Mainly the 2000s aesthetic, the mini games, it even uses some of the same sound effects. This game isn't for me, but if you like RPGs or All Grown Up, then this might be up your alley. To end off this Nicktoons Altron marathon, I thought playing Atlantis SquarePantis for the GBA would be a nice way to do so. Mainly because, how else would I be able to talk about it? Altron has made 2 versions of this game. This version and the DS version. I've already talked about the DS version in the SpongeBob Trilogy video, but the GBA version is pretty different. It shares some elements from it, but it's an overall different experience. You can still play as the main 4, and each of them have their own abilities and combos. The combos are a lot of fun here. Since it's 2D animated, they really take advantage of that. I think the biggest change is the lack of new continent. Other than that, the story beats are practically the same. Out of what I've played and seen, it looks alright. It's no masterpiece like the DS version, but it's cute. Though if I'm being honest, I like the Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy SpongeBob sprite better. And that was a good majority of the Altron Nicktoons game, since sadly a lot of them I couldn't find. Overall, not all of them landed for me, but most of them are good in their own way. Sure, some of them are rough around the edges, but we all have to start somewhere. It was honestly fun getting through these games, and noticing patterns with this particular studio, and how they later tied into the SpongeBob games. Which games have you played? Which ones sound intriguing to you? Were the ones I couldn't get a hold of any good? Comment below. And with all that said, it's all sad from here.